Namaste and welcome to Satsang today. So welcome to everyone and welcome to anyone that's joining us for the first time today. I wanted to spend some time, I thought today we could do a guided meditation and just to explore a very simple way of meditation as we have been doing a little bit in the previous Satsang. And any direct form of meditation is to by whichever method to focus on that part of us that isn't moving or changing, a part of us that isn't visible or shouting for our attention. So when we're putting attention on what is real about us, what is real about everything, about what reality actually is, then we're going to feel more calm, we're going to feel more centered, more balanced, we're going to feel perhaps a deeper relaxation than we thought was possible within the body. And it really comes down to a very simple technique that our attention is either on objects, things that are moving, changing, becoming, coming and going. And these can include thoughts, of course, and emotions, experiences, everything going on in our body, sensations, that type of thing. And the world in general is full of what looks like objects. Or our attention can rest upon, through cultivating a new habit, which is what the most direct form of meditation is, on that which is usually in the background and largely ignored, for want of knowing how to recognize it. And that's what we're going to do today. So we're just going to do a really simple technique, which you can do with your eyes open or closed. It really doesn't make any difference. Just sitting comfortably, and we'll meditate for 20-25 minutes. I'll guide us through it as we go. So it's a very simple technique, just to notice the space around you, notice the space in the room, notice the space the room is sitting in. To do that, you naturally have to use a different faculty to using your eyes and your ears and your mind, because you can't see the space that's here in the room. The formless space doesn't have any shape, doesn't have any quality that you can use your senses to perceive. It's not coming and going, it's not changing, and it's not never going to shout for your attention. And naturally our attention goes to the things that are moving and changing within it. So your body, your thoughts, these words, whatever is moving and changing and becoming and coming and going in your experience is going to grab attention by habit only. So we're changing this habit in meditation and just putting our attention on that which is constant and in the background. And with that, when we practice this regularly, a little bit each day, then we can come to a profound sense of peace. And at some point, without realizing, without doing anything special that day, your attention kind of forgets how to go automatically to thoughts. Thoughts may still be there, but they're just thoughts. They're not my thoughts. They're not affecting me. I'm not experiencing them as if they're real. They're no different than the table and the chair in the room that I'm sitting in. They're just objects coming and going. So if you want to follow on with this meditation and to join in, just get yourself in a nice, comfy position. And with your eyes open or closed, literally just going to notice the space in the room, space around your body. Wherever your body is sitting right now, there is naturally space around it. Space in the room, empty space in the room that you're sitting in. And a simple thing, just to put attention on that empty space. How to do that? Just to know it's here. That you're not seeing it with your eyes, but you're recognizing it in some other way. Very simple thing, that there is a field, a spaciousness, an emptiness where there is no objects, there is just space. And this really is the simplest and most direct meditation. And it's simply to keep noticing that space, that field in which all these objects are appearing. The field has to be here first, the spaciousness, for these objects to appear in, including your body, including your thoughts. And we're just cultivating a new habit in meditation to pay attention to that spacious field first, by default. It's as simple as putting attention on that field, that spaciousness. It's not going to feel like anything amazing. It's not going to be angels singing when we notice it. There's just a recognition that there is something else to perceive in your experience other than the coming and goingness. It may even seem to our mind irrelevant and pointless to put attention on this because it's not getting us anywhere. But just see how it feels when your attention goes to this spaciousness, this field. And of course, every human being, our attention is going to wander back to something arising in the field. So we'll be noticing that spaciousness, that empty field. And then at some point, attention will go back to noticing thoughts or a sense of restlessness or some emotion or a sound in your environment or a sensation in your body. And we don't have to try to stop that. We don't have to force anything with this meditation. Just when you notice that your attention, that you're looking at objects, thoughts, emotions again, then just simply bring attention back to the field. It's enough to do this very simple thing consistently. Just recognizing that there is a vast empty spaciousness which your body is appearing, in which the chair or whatever you're sitting on is appearing, the room itself you're in is appearing. All these things appear in this spaciousness. We don't need to call it anything in particular. I'm calling it spaciousness, I'm calling it field. It really doesn't matter. Just cultivating a habit to put some attention on that. We can't see it with our eyes. It's never going to jump and shout for our attention. It's not moving, it's not doing anything exciting. But just to bring attention to it. The more that we do this, the more our body will begin to feel a sense of relaxation. And the more that we do this consistently, the more our mind will begin to slow down by itself. Simply by putting attention on that which doesn't have any shape or quality, that our mind can't compare against something else, that we're not necessarily fueling the mind anymore. It may still be thinking and it's fine. We're not pushing against anything here, we're just choosing deliberately where to place attention on that field in which the room, the objects, your thoughts, your emotions are arising in. Just a simple thing. Spending just a few moments recognizing that spaciousness, that field that isn't a thing yet, in which things arise, appear to arise and disappear. Inherently, the field is silent, unchanging. It's not traveling anywhere, it's not becoming anything, it's not letting go. It's not even trying to wake up. It's just here. And it's enough to bring our attention back to it when it wanders away, when it gets hypnotized by the thingness of thoughts and emotions and experiences, sensations. There isn't anything else that we could do with our time that is more valuable than this very simple thing. Choosing to pay attention to that silent field. Choosing again and again until that becomes automatic, until that becomes habitual. Meditation simply becomes a choice to look at that which is real and stable, permanent, secure, already inherently peaceful. There is a quietness about the field, about the spaciousness, a kind of rest. We're not trying to define the field or analyze it, because our attention would be back on thoughts then. Just noticing, recognizing it's here. An inner seeing, a sensing of the field. Can't feel it against our skin, but we know it's here. It doesn't smell or taste like anything, but it must be here first, before anything can appear. It's not moving or changing. It just is. And if your attention has wandered to a nice state, or a feeling in the body, or some emotion arising, simply bring it back to the field. Perhaps you begin to notice that the more you bring attention back to the field, spaciousness, the nicer your body begins to feel. the more everything just begins to slow down, relax. Just a very simple thing now. We can either be paying attention to the field itself or to objects arising in it, but not both at the same time. That when we begin to pay attention to the field, to that spacious quiet, we might start to have a sense that we've been looking for this for a very long time. Just a different kind of looking, not with our eyes, not with our mind, just a noticing. The spacious field has to be here before anything can appear in it. It's not coming or going. It doesn't begin or end. It's constant, unchanging and effortlessly present, continuously. It is the most reliable, stable thing about our experience. When we pay attention to the field, we begin to take on its qualities: quietness, calmness, relaxation. When we pay attention to mind instead, we take on its qualities: restlessness, changing, becoming, moving, striving. So we're simply making a choice to pay attention to that which is already still, already quiet. Already doesn't need anything at all. Just the spaciousness. That not a thing yetness. Just simply bringing attention to that which isn't changing. It's constantly in the background, maybe never been noticed before. Or maybe noticed and forgotten. From time to time, just checking where your attention is. Is it on the objects of thoughts? Or is it on the spacious field itself? In that field, thoughts may arise, disappear. Sensations may come and go. Noises may occur inside, outside. We're just being like the field itself, just allowing all that moves to move, all the changes to change. Just simply putting attention back gently on that spacious field itself. Meditation becomes a beautifully simple thing. Just to put attention for a little while on that which has no shape, has no quality, no colour. It's not appearing or disappearing. It's not becoming. It's just here. There isn't anything else we need to do. Just allowing yourself to enjoy how it feels, to put attention on that which is stable and unchanging. That your body and your mind and your emotions and even your world just naturally enjoys living from that which is stable and unchanging. The field itself is already completely still. Even when a thought moves inside the field, or an emotion surges, the field itself is undisturbed. Simply the more we put attention on that field, the more we begin to live like it, experience like the field experiences. We can either experience life as a someone, an object arising in the field, or we can experience life as the field, and we get to choose in every moment simply by where our attention is. Any time that we feel that we're suffering, it's simply that attention has wandered back to the thingness inside the field. We don't even have to get rid of thoughts or emotions or stop everything from changing. Just allow it to be. Simply put attention on the spaciousness itself. While attention is on the field, your body and mind, your life is going to be experiencing this healing presence, this energy that comes from the field. And naturally, our life will begin to rearrange itself to its best possible appearance, without us doing anything at all. Simply just by placing attention on the field. As always, the simplest things are the most effective, the most powerful, and the most enjoyable. In a moment, we will be bringing this guided meditation to a close. But I hope you have seen that meditation in its simplest form doesn't have to be something we do with our eyes closed when we're seated and alone in a quiet place. You may begin like that, but as you enjoy how this feels, as you relax into your own spaciousness, a quiet dimension of your being. It's natural that you would want to notice it more and more as you move throughout your day, as you're talking and walking, interacting and living out your life. So I would encourage you, if you've enjoyed this, to notice the field at random moments during the day. See if you can notice it with your eyes open. When someone's speaking, when you're talking, when your body's moving. Just a simple thing to notice the spaciousness that envelops all things, subtle and gross. That field is not limited by anything at all. The field never comes to an end. It's infinite in size and dimension. Always present. And very simply noticed. So whenever you're ready, if you'd like to open your eyes, if you want to, you don't have to. I would love to hear your experience, if you would like to share your experience of the meditation, of the simplicity of it, or if you have a question that you would like to ask about your awakening. Then I'll open it up for questions. If you would like to ask a question or to share something, you can click on participants at the bottom of the screen and scroll down to the bottom of there and click on raise hand, and it will show me that you want to ask something or to share something. Okay, we'll start with Caroline.
Namaste, Helen.
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. I found this one actually very powerful. I had it with my eyes open, and immediately I could tune into that space. While when I have my eyes closed, I often feel there's a heaviness or a tightness of really wanting to get to that space. But I'm actually surprised to see that it was easier to do it this way with the eyes open, and yeah, it made me feel quite broad, also expansive.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you.
That's good. That sense of tightness with eyes closed is just something that's trying to find the field, isn't it? Something inside wants to try to.
Yeah,
the tension.
definitely.
I've got to find it, and that'll just disappear as you recognize the field more and more. That it's always there when we look, and less will you be sort of able to believe that you might not be able to find it. You know, all these thoughts we have about the self. You know, that it's difficult, and there's a relaxation. Well, it's always here. It's just whether I'm noticing it or not. That's the only thing that's happening, isn't it? And that so sometimes it's easier with eyes open. Just to notice that tightness, that tension is just another very subtle object appearing in the field, isn't it? And you can just, okay, I'm noticing that. Let me just shift attention to that, the spaciousness. And did you feel your body start to relax a little? And
oh, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yeah, good. Everything was going quiet and soft. It was beautiful.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. Glad you enjoyed. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, Sergio. Can you hear us, Sergio? I can't hear you.
Sorry, hi.
Oh, there we go.
For me, experiencing the contextual field has been one of the very difficult doors to experience the noumenon.
Mm-hmm.
But today, towards the very end of the meditation, I was able to really tune in, and I did it with. Usually, I try to do it always with the open eyes because I like to become more like more the habit of doing it while I'm moving my body, so that I can because when I sit down, the body's quiet. It's easier to tune in into the other doors to the noumenon,
Mm-hmm.
whereas when I'm walking, isn't. But today it was a beautiful experience. Although I still have some experience in the area of my heart that it's very constricted, that it wants to open up.
Yeah.
But it hasn't yet.
It's very common. I had for quite some time this kind of tightness, kind of above my heart, but just below my throat. You know, just it felt like something was pressing on it sometime. You know, like a heavy energy or
Yes.
something. And I just noticed that was a phenomena, a feeling, a sensation, and just let it be, and kind of just recognize if it was going to let go that energy, it wouldn't do so with me making it. You know, it would just open up in that in paying attention to the field. It really didn't matter that it was there anymore. It was just some idea I'd had that it stopped me from recognizing the field. It was getting in the way or something. But I had this recognition that nothing can actually nothing appearing in the field can obscure me from seeing the field. You know, even this feeling, or if the body's in pain or sort of tired or something like that, you know. And so I just let it be in the end. And it just got, at some point I realized it had gone. I don't know when it went, but you know, it didn't matter so much anymore because I wasn't believing it was in my way. You know, can you get a
Thank
sense?
you. Yes, and thank you very much. Very powerful. It reminded me the experience that today's meditation. It reminded me the experience after finishing the 4 lesson of the course Dissolving the Ego,
Mm-hmm.
of this expansion of being like everywhere. Thank you, Helen.
But the more you tune in, the more you do this very simple thing, the deeper it gets every time. You know, even now for me, every time it's constant to recognize the field now, but it's always been experienced deeper, even though the field is just the field already. Somehow we experience it even deeper. You know, it's one of those wonderful paradoxes. So I'm glad you enjoyed, and I hope everyone's seeing the simple meditation is the most profoundly powerful. It changes everything, doesn't it?
Definitely, yes. Very powerful and very simple.
I like
Thank you
simple
again.
things. They work for me. Thanks for sharing, Sergio. It's wonderful to speak to you.
Thank you. Same here, Helen.
Thanks. Okay, we'll go to Eileen.
Good morning, Helen. Well, good evening, I guess. It's good morning.
No, we're still morning, just about. Yeah.
Okay. I love today's meditation, and I don't know if it's a combination of being in the Dissolving the Ego course or what, but as soon as I'm touching that spot now, I'm getting tears, and I don't know, it's just a beautiful place. That's always here. I can't get over it. Like, it's almost like like, really, I can have this at any moment. This overwhelming sense of, unexplainable, whatever it is. But there's but no. My question is, there seems to be, right, I seem to be in this, well, I can have this from 7 to 10, and then I have to do my life. And even as I start to catch myself in conversation with people and just trying to pull back, I can feel the fear and the struggle. Like, for example, I had a graduation party for my daughter, and I said to myself, "You can't wake up today. You got stuff to do. Like, I got to get this going." And to the point of that, like, it's almost like I have a choice of where to put my attention. And that day, it was like, you can't be like off in La La Land. You have stuff to do.
Yeah.
So, like, could you just speak, is there really that division, and how I know it's probably going to just gradually happen, but does something take over and those tasks that I seem to need myself, small self in mind to do, I know they get done more effortlessly, but there's this resistance to letting go, I guess. I don't know.
It's really common, and I'm glad you brought it up, because you know, it's all well and good sitting here on the sofa in Satsang and, you know, tuning into the field. But what about when I got to drive or go to the supermarket and, you know, graduation party, like, that's just, I'm just going to be standing there drooling or something, you know, when everyone's congratulating my child. And but you know, that's as you said, that something shifts in that there's a deeper and deeper seeing, which you can actually investigate on purpose, which I would suggest is that you said something like, it seems like I need that egoic sense of me to get stuff done. And I just got, okay, well, if this seems to be the obstacle, let me find out if that's actually the case. Has this egoic sense of self ever actually got anything done? You know, even though it really seems like it's been running my life, and it seems like from the ego's perspective that it's being asked to let go, it's being asked to give up control, so to speak.
Right.
And that seemed like a real roadblock at some point, an obstacle. You know, how am I going to be a mother to 4 kids if I'm, you know, not even paying attention to? But there's a difference between what your eyes are looking at and what your mind's thinking about and where your attention is. It's a fundamental difference. Like right now, I can look at you, I can have this conversation, but my effortless, spontaneous noticing is the field. Right? And there's a difference between what my eyes are seeing and where my attention is. And as you noticed probably when you're recognizing the field, your body didn't stop breathing, your ears didn't suddenly stop hearing what I was saying, your heart didn't stop beating. So just to challenge that, is the egoic sense of self, has it really ever been running the show? And we know that intellectually that it hasn't. But if it's never actually been the cause of our actions and the cause of everything, then does it even have to let go? Is that even a real obstacle? You know, so any obstacle I came up against that I couldn't seem to find a way through, I ended up going around it because I realized it mustn't be real. You know, from egoic perspective, it thinks it's running the show, and therefore it really feels like it's been asked to give up, to get out of the driving seat and go around and get in the passenger seat. Okay, who's going to drive the car then? But the car's kind of always been driving itself.
Yeah.
And the ego's in the steering wheel holding, look, I'm doing it, see, look at me, you know.
Yes. I think as you're speaking, I think the fear might be that if I let go of this, whatever it is, perceive, life will go in a different direction or something that, you know, that
It
I don't
will. It absolutely will. It
and
will
a
go in
better
a
one,
much
I know,
better
but
direction.
that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fear, I think, is that it is, I can, it's that control sense or something. I can feel it getting, you know, bumping up against that for me.
It's
So
very, very common, and it's coming up for a reason. It's not an obstacle. Like anything, it can either be an obstacle or something we can work with.
right.
So yeah, I'd suggest really investigating, has it actually been the cause of my life? You know, just because I think I want to do this thing, has that thought actually ever caused my body to get up and do it?
Right.
You know, and what if I'm actually more efficient and more able to function, and life actually gets better living as the field? Because you are the field already, you've just been living as an attention's been going to this object, this someone that's in the field. Doesn't mean this someoneness was ever running the show.
Right. And of course, I think, well, it's going to get worse without it. Well, like you said, how about if I just keep focusing on it's going to get better with, with a different, if I keep resting in this place that brings me to tears, how could it not be better? It's the most joyous. I mean, I get that somewhere, but
it may be a little less functional at first because
Okay.
there's a relaxation. There can be a lot of tears, a kind of relief that you can find it easily. I've had these ideas, and with it, it's difficult to realize the self. And here we just did it in 5 seconds. Spacious field. Okay, check, and just bring attention back to that more, because the obvious and the ease of it, and the fact that it's really not at all like we thought it was. It's not this, that just allows the body to relax and the mind to relax. Mind's being anxious, trying to find a way around all that stuff. So there might be some tears and some deep enjoyment of the stillness, but as that settles, you'll actually find yourself much more productive, much more effective, all of that stuff, and life will be much more enjoyable. But just notice as well, ego's tendency to be, it's a bit of a drama queen. It kind of, oh my God, I've got to let go, like this huge thing, like somebody's asking me to jump off this cliff.
Yes.
And it's like, not really, there's a staircase, just take one step, let go for a few minutes, and then you can hold on again if you want, and then a few minutes later let go again. And that's the way I did it. I just incrementally challenged myself. Can I be the field while I'm talking to this person? Can I be the field while I'm talking on the phone? While my body's just walking quietly, can I be the field? And then, after that, yes, it proved it to myself. Okay, can I be the field while I'm walking around the store? And all of that. Then, so there isn't this big cliff. It's just being lifted more and more and more, in gentle segments that don't freak the ego out so it doesn't even realize it's letting go in the end. It just ever so gently.
Thank you so much. That was really
It's very
helpful.
common what you've said, and I think everyone comes up against it, so it's a good thing to ask. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we'll go to Diane.
There we go. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. So, I enjoyed coming to this satsang, even though it's at a unusual time where I am. It's early in the morning, and I went to bed early, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll set my alarm. And then I said, oh, if I'm supposed to be there, I'll be there. And so I woke up at like 2:45 a.m. And so here I am. And I'm doing what you typically don't recommend, which is laying down while I'm doing the meditation.
Well, if it started at 2:45 in the morning, that might be a different thing.
Well, it's a very different thing, and I have never done this before, and I feel really quite present.
Yeah.
And also noticing very clearly the lack of mental activity.
Yeah, it's natural. It becomes a very simple, quite obvious, the more attention we put on the field, on the silence, the awareness, whatever we want to call it, the real self. Just by doing that simple thing, mind starts to quieten down without anything we're doing at all, and the body starts to relax as a result. That we can either, spend a large amount of time trying to make our mind go quiet, or we can just put attention on that within us, which is already quiet, and it has that effect anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and at this time of the day, there's nothing, my mind isn't jumping to anything. There's no distraction. I'm not thinking of all the things I have to do.
Right.
And it's a really clear perspective in that when I kind of compare it to other times of meditation, that any all the distractions are just inventions of the mind.
Yeah.
Because now there's nothing. But maybe during the day when there's more activity, the mind wants to move around, and I think I have to do certain things, and that's not true.
You can absolutely pay attention to the field, and your body will just move around and do what it needs to do, you know, as that happens. But I think everyone has a favorite time, or a time that they find is easier to meditate. Some people are night owls, you know, they like that quietness last thing at night, or for me it was always first thing in the morning. But you know, naturally that time was easy for me, you know, sort of incorporate that into the rest of the day, start to stretch that out into, okay, when is that time where, you know, it gets more difficult for me, and kind of just challenge myself a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I see that, but what I'm pointing to here is that just kind of recognizing that the typical mind activity isn't anything.
Yeah. Very good. It's just a habit to pay attention to it, really, isn't it? It's just a habit to look at it.
Yep.
And then to feel like those doing it and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of contrast to the last input from Eileen.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And enjoy your quiet.
Thanks.
Good, good. Okay, we'll go to Ron. We'll make this the last question.
Yeah, I guess good noon, Helen. Yeah, it's curious. It's interesting. Some of the context for me is I played a lot of sports growing up, and to what Eileen said, what was really interesting. Played a lot of basketball, particularly in high school and some in college. I mean, you have so many moving pieces that are going on in a game, and when you're playing, you're not sitting still at all. And I had those few experiences where some people call it being in the flow, where for whatever reason, I can't tell you why, you lose context of everything. You're not trying. Everything is totally effortless. And what you're doing is you can't believe, it's just everything. You do everything exactly when you're supposed to, without even being able to see who's around you, because someone could come from behind you to block you, and all of a sudden you made a move and you had no idea they were even there. And it's totally effortless and amazing, even though you're highly active. So yeah, I looking forward to being in the experience at some point in life, just being in that flow more and more and more. And I've been experimenting with the awareness and in movement some, but I'm expanding a little more like that whole idea, but particularly when I'm talking to, seeing if I can get to that point. There seems to be like this area of, let's say, planning, whether it's you're making a grocery list, or whether what I do for a living is fairly technical, a lot of different moving pieces, information that we have to gather and focus on and make kind of an intellectual decision about whether it'll work or not. Can you speak to that at all? When you've got, how does this fit in there's some that have called this clock time versus other time that you kind of, this is the human brain focusing on something that you've been technically trained to do, and you can't just effortlessly do it. It's something you actually have to, focus your human attention on. And just curious.
Yeah, if you there'll be those things for a lot of us that we feel we do have to put attention upon. Perhaps if excuse me, if we're busy at work or something, and or we're doing some task where there seems to need to be a lot of focus to go on that, you can eventually even train your attention to be on the field even then, because the body is functioning by itself autonomously. We've had such a belief that I am the one making the body function. I am the one, by paying attention to, sort of scrutinizing what the body's doing, that's somehow making it more effective. And it just isn't true. The reverse is true. But even if we can't keep our attention on the quiet field all the time right now, we just to notice it when we can, and to come to the recognition that it's always there, even though attention is wandering back to what the body's doing in any particular moment, or even what the mind is doing, where the focus is. They still retain that quietness, that relaxation in the body, that effortlessness that you were talking about, even if your attention isn't on the field. Confirming that the field is always here. Every time I look for it, it's there. And also confirming that I'm not separate to it. When I look for myself in the field, I can't find any entity called me. When I actually look in the field, there's a body moving around, having thoughts and emotions, but is there actually a me? And we actually find there isn't a separate me in the field. There's just the field and the body. Then you'll retain that same quietness even when attention is focused on planning something or task that that needs to be a lot of attention going to the body and the mind for that. And the benefit is, when you're finished with that intense focus, it'll automatically revert back to the field without having to even make any effort to do that. Probably we definitely all start off the other way around, where attention automatically goes to the body mind, and we have to exert some effort to make sure we notice the field at first. So enough doing that. If I have to do some task where attention goes to what the body's doing, there might be that focus, like when I'm writing or something, focus goes to what's going on. But as soon as it's finished, automatically it just kind of resets back to the empty spaciousness. But even when attention is focused on what the body's doing, you can still have that quietness, that relaxation, which you've experienced already, as you said, whether you're in the flow or in the zone, or sometimes it's even easier to notice that effortless field when there's so much going on. The body's deeply engaged in some sport or activity, or at work or wherever. Sometimes it's easy, there's too much going on to try to control in that moment, and something just lets go and says, okay. And then everything you kind of touch turns to gold, doesn't it? You, like you said, you end up, when I used to run a lot, you could run further and faster and you didn't get tired. And, it's just this effortless place where the body was just running and I wasn't running. There wasn't a feeling that I'm running. That sense of identification with the body's gone. So it's just to confirm that the field, two things to confirm: the field is always here, the awareness, by checking out, does it disappear? Has the awareness arisen just because I'm looking at it, paying attention to it, or was it always here? Does it disappear when my attention goes to the body? And then the second step is to confirm, is there a you and the awareness? When we really look, is there a you in the field, navigating the body, doing all that? Or is there actually just the field? We can prove those quite simply by looking again and again. And then no matter whether the body's busy or quiet, it'll be the same experience for you, just this in the flow feeling, that's continuous and effortless. Hope that helps.
Yes, thank you. Just one last comment, just from the experience this morning. For whatever reason, I've always meditated with my eyes closed in the past, but with this awareness meditation, I find it, at least for me right now, a lot more effective with my eyes open. I can almost sense and feel that spaciousness around objects, and the objects just kind of end up moving into the background, with the space kind of moving into the foreground. But with the so I try to have my eyes closed too, and things just kind of go blank a little bit there, as far as trying to, like you say, you're trying to grab hold of what awareness, trying to grab hold of something, and for whatever reason, what kind of came up, I don't know if you're familiar with this, Super 8 ball that kind of you turn over, gives you the answer, just kind of appears. So it was kind of like, but expanding that infinitely to where everything was just kind of floating, whether it's thoughts or anything else, a thought floating in there. And at times it would kind of show up quickly, but I could just make sure it didn't Velcro, it didn't attach, and then just release it again. And which was kind of I don't know why that came up or why that happened, but it was interesting.
It's really how we're interacting with, if we're noticing the field, we'll interact with the phenomena, the thoughts, the objects arising in the field as the field. And the field can't grab a hold of anything, can't Velcro anything at all. It's just completely unable to do anything, is it, in that way, in terms of grabbing a hold of something. And but if our attention has subtly gone back to the sense of someone being as someone, a separate being, then we'll be interacting with the phenomena, the thoughts and all of that as a separate being. And that's always in relationship. My thoughts, my emotions, my experiences, my resistance, and then the other experience is just being the field where there's just stuff arising in it. A classic analogy is the sky isn't really bothered about the clouds that are appearing, and it isn't going, that cloud needs to go away, and I only like white clouds, not storm clouds. It's just the experience of being the field, just by putting attention on the aware field, the silent field, is just a very different experience, a very different way to live. And sometimes having your eyes open is easier, because you can't notice an object. Like my eyes are looking at the laptop now that we're talking on, that I'm using to do this, and I can't see the laptop without noticing this it's sitting in some space, isn't it? It's just obvious. Sometimes it's easier like that. By contrast, the moment you see an object, there's space around it. The moment you notice a thought, it must be appearing in some spaciousness. And it becomes quite enjoyable then, because the objects, most of our meditation, we're trying to get rid of objects, aren't we? Like they should go away so I can have a quiet time. But it's just a different, simpler way to do it, really.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Lovely. We will leave it there for today. So thank you for joining me, and namaste.